already know the simple Italian prepositions di, a, da, in, con, su, per, tra, fra. I use a slash in between tra and fra because tra and fra are perfectly equivalent in Italian. Now, when a simple preposition is followed by a definite article, we obtain what is called an articulated preposition. So, what I mean when I talk about a definite article, I mean the equivalent of the English article the. So remember, when you use the in English, the Italian have il, lo, la, l'apostrophe, I, gli, and le. Okay, so when the simple preposition is followed by a definite article, we obtain an articulated preposition. Now, we have two different cases. One case is when the article follows the preposition and does not combine with her. This is the case of con, per, tra, fra. So in this case, when we have con, per, tra, or fra, we just simply add an article after con, per, tra, and fra without combine the two words. For example, io cammino. No, let me use io parlo. Okay, so io parlo con Maria. Okay, in this case, you see, we have just a simple preposition con. I talk with Maria. In this case, an article is not necessary. But let's say now that I talk with the professor. So in this case, even in English, you have an article, a definite article after the preposition because you say, I talk with the professor. So, io parlo con. Now, what is the article that you need to put in front of professore in italiano? Is il. So, io parlo con il professore. So, what happened? In one case, since with the name Maria, you don't really need an article, you just have the simple with, con. And you've studied this during the previous unit. Now, we are just simply adding the article after il. Same thing happened with per, with tra, and fra. But what is going to happen when an article follows di, a, da, in, e su? Okay, when an article follows di, a, da, in, or su, the article forms only one word combined with the preposition. First, we have the preposition, and then we attach the article to the preposition. Now, you have a table, and you can see the entire formation of the articulated preposition, but let's just take a few examples. So let's start with the. So, for example, if you say, questo libro è di Marco. Okay, in this case you don't need a preposition, you have a proper name Marco, so questo libro è di Marco, this is Marco's book. But now, let's say like you want to say this is that professor's book. So in this case, you have that professor, so will be questo libro è, and now it will be what? The plus il, since you have that professor in Italian is il professore, and then professore. So di plus il in Italian gives one word, one new word, and is del. Ok, so questo libro è di plus il professore becomes questo libro è del professore. Now, can you use di plus il instead of del? No, you must use the articulated preposition. So you must use del. Okay? Same thing happened with a. Let's say like io do un fiore a Maria. Again, I gave a flower to Maria, or I gave Maria a flower. In this case, a Maria, you see, you don't have an article, so it's fine like this. But let's say now you want to say that you gave a flower to the professor, to that professor. In this case, you must combine. Io do un fiore. In this case, I want to use professor as a female professor. So in Italian is professoressa. So you will have what? A plus, what is the article in front of professoressa? It's la. So io do un fiore a plus la, and then the name professoressa. Okay, as we did before, a plus la, you can check the table, gives as a result a la. Can you use a plus la instead of alla? No, you can't. In Italian, you must use alla. And so you have to say alla professoressa. Okay, so this is the way the articulate preposition work. Study the table and you will have all the formation of those. Now, when you use the articulate preposition instead of the simple one, as we have just seen now, when even in English you need like an article. But let's go back to some previous expression that we have seen before. For example, we said io sono a scuola. See, in this case, we don't need a preposition. We have learned to say like in, at, school. In Italian, you simply translate a scuola. But when the same word, a scuola, is in some way modified by, for example, an adjective or by something, a specification. For example, I want to say, I am in the elementary school. So in this case, there will be an adjective, elementare, that it would be added to scuola. So in this case, an article becomes necessary. So what would you need here? You will need a, and then you need plus what? That right article that goes in front of a scuola. So you know that the right article in front of a scuola is la. So the result will be alla scuola elementare. Okay, and so on. Let's use another one with in. Io studio in biblioteca. Okay, you know this. I study in the library. In Italian, we don't use the library when we simply have biblioteca. You have learned this expression already, so it's not a problem for you. So io studio in biblioteca means I'm studying in the library. But you see here, biblioteca is alone, doesn't have any kind of other word connected to it. So it's like it was scuola without elementary. But let's say now I want to say that I study in the York library. In this case, I give a specification. So it will be io studio. Then let me give you first the specification. The York's library. So io studio, in this case, since you add the York, you specify, as you did before with elementare, you add something, you add another information. An article is mandatory in Italian. So what is the article in front of biblioteca? It will be la. So the result will be in plus la. Can you use in and la like they separated in Italian? No, you must combine them. Check the table and you will see that in plus la will give you as a result nella. So io studio nella biblioteca di York.